VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Busy show lined up today. David Eckert, who covers the Longhorns, to preview Texas and Georgia SEC title game. Pat Forty on the program. Can't wait to talk to him. That's coming up in 2 hours. Derek Stevens, owner, CEO of this great property, and Adam Chernoff on the NFL in 30 minutes. I don't know if 3 hours will be enough for the show today. I doubt it. And I need you to apologize to the audience and to the NFL to begin the show.
The flex?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last night's game was arguably the best game of the entire year. Am I wrong?
He drives you insane. I know. It's insanity. The guy's been in the league 10 years, and he plays like a rookie. Likes it up. That's what he did in Tampa.
It's so good, and it's so bad every game.
Yeah. 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. 10 years in the league. Stupid throws. Idiotic mistakes. What are you doing? Pick six on a platter. A horrific beat, much like San Jose State Boise a couple weeks ago. I don't know which one was worse. I think it's probably the worst beat of the NFL. Bookmakers got crushed on that result, too. But it's Judy. Looks like Jerry Rice. Can't stop him, man.
That is, hey, for the first time in his NFL career, we're finally getting to watch the Jerry Judy we saw at Alabama, who was always open. He was super fast. Yeah. He would blow by the field, and Tua would catch him for like a 75-yard touchdown every game.
Yeah.
He looks like he's in college again.
Yeah.
And that he was never unlocked anywhere before this, and Winston's bringing it out of him.
Yeah, Denver has to bench veterans and bring in rookies. Like, can anybody cover these guys?
Yeah.
What are we going to do here? We can't get a stop. And to think that they score 32 points and it's not enough on the road, as Knicks and Denver played well, and you get 2 pick sixes, and it could have been 3. But it's just, I mean, Mike Florio, he's been on the show many times. I like Mike. He's out of his mind. You cannot bring this guy back and he's your starting quarterback. The other stuff.
Hold on. I missed this. He said Watson has to be the starter next year?
No, Winston. Did I say Watson?
No, sorry. I thought you were meaning.
You can't do it. You can't. He continues to make
Paul. No, he's
ridiculous.
Okay.
He's fun to watch, but there was no way moving forward that this guy can be your quarterback, and there was a reason that he was benched and no one picked him up after Tampa, and he went to New Orleans and was even third string at one point. And he's also just become a character and a comedy act afterwards. Please, Lord, no more pick sixes, save me, everything. I think more like Ross Perot. If it's a dated reference, but the stuff he says doesn't make sense. Eat the W and these bizarre post-game rants and getting the team fired up, and this stuff doesn't even make sense. But he's quite the character. He delivered last night, but just from a standpoint of if you had the Browns, if you are a Browns fan, stop with the Mickey Mouse interceptions. Come on. That's high school stuff.
Yes or no, Jameis Winston should be a starting quarterback on one of the 32 teams in the NFL?
I can't get there.
Oh, my God.
So many interceptions.
Paul,
so many dumb mistakes.
What we watched last night is so much better than half the crap we see every single Sunday in the league. You'd rather have Will Levis?
No, I don't want Will Levis, no.
Okay, well, then there's at least one spot.
Rudolph. Well, I think Rudolph should be the quarterback.
Would you rather have Deshaun Watson?
No.
Not a chance. So if it comes down to those two guys, it's a no-brainer that it's got to be Winston. It has to be.
Well, you never should have got rid of Flacco, but in any event.
I'll tell you another one.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Winston or Derek Carr? The spot where he just came from last year and where he was at for several years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are plenty of spots in the NFL. That game was so exciting last night because of one person, Jameis Winston. That game's probably 17-6 if Deshaun Watson's their quarterback.
Yeah, but he also cost them the game, though, too.
Oh, I understand that.
I'm with you from the entertainment standpoint, but he continues to do this. And now, he's $1.60 to throw a pick, and now we'll see how high that gets. That was $3 when he was in Tampa during the glory days when he was throwing 30 interceptions.
Yep.
So you've never seen anything like it. I mean, this stuff gets you benched. Normally, in Tampa, they still wouldn't sit him down and get him benched. Throwing these touchdowns and then pick six after pick six, an interception after interception.
500 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right?
But blew the game, though.
I understand that, but half the league could not do what he did last night in terms of the positive. Now, how many quarterbacks can do the bad and the negative? He's probably one of a handful that can make it look that bad. But that's the roller coaster ride that you're going to get every single game out of Jameis Winston, and it's part of the gig if you sign him. To me, I would. There's no doubt I'd take him over Deshaun Watson next year. Watson can't play a lick.
No, well, coming off the injury too, his career should be done. Yeah, absolutely. What happened? with that injury. But that is just...
He had, think about this from OptaStats on X. So the 497 passing, the Broncos also had 171 interception return yards against him. That is 668 combined passing yards plus interception return yards off his picks. Most in any game NFL history. I got a comparison to Joe Namath. He's a little bit before our time. Evidently, he had a game once where he threw 5 touchdowns and 5 INTs in the same game.
No.
But I'm like our lifetime, who a more modern day comparison would be who maybe Jeff George.
Yeah, Brett Favre early on.
Yeah.
Brett Favre early on in Green Bay.
And I can barely remember Dan Fouts, but a lot of people were saying Dan Fouts as well. That's pretty much it, though.
But they wouldn't make mistakes like that. Those were gift wrapped. I mean, the pick six, the pick six, and then, the first pick six, and then the second pick six, where are you throwing the ball?
No idea.
Right? And then how do you not cover? How do you not cash that ticket? They're down 2, set up after a nice play to convert 3rd and 14 with 2 minutes left. And you can't cover.
Can't cover the game.
You get the pick six. Oh, whoop! It's San Jose State Part 2. They drive all the way down the field again. Remember, they need a field goal too. So they're down 9. They'll take the field goal. But after the PI, it's 1st and goal at the 2. Where are you throwing the ball? And then he's lucky that wasn't a pick six.
I totally forgot about this. I had them. I'm in 4 contests out here, right? 2 at the Westgate, 2 Circa Millions. I forgot that I had the Browns on a ticket in one of them last night until the game was over with. That is the difference. I was going to go 3-2 compared to 2-3. 2 and 3 is 40%. You're a loser on the year, and you have no chance to cash anything in these contests. 3-2, you can move the sticks at 60%.
Right.
That's
right. Good point.
You have to have those breaks go. There's a guy.
Go back to the Houston finish. If you had Houston,
for
in the
sure.
I mean, it's 23-3 with 11 minutes left. It's Mac Jones.
Right. How many games? How many games come down to the final? Possession of the final 4 in the fourth quarter. There was somebody in Circa Millions out here. You sent me this text earlier today. I almost fell out of my chair. They went in the quarterly that just finished. They went 19-1 ATS.
Yeah.
You can't have anything like that go against you to finish 19-1. You have to have all those breaks go your way in order to cash out a quarterly.
Yeah, he takes it out. Obviously, takes it down by himself. 150,000. I can't imagine fathom that someone's able to do that ATS. I know
it should have been impossible, all things considered, for the Browns not to cover that game last night.
Yeah,
and yet,
all-time bad beat, all time. Because even it's like, okay, incomplete, whatever. We're still going to kick the field goal, but it's fall down. Just don't throw a pick six. I mean, because the field goal there the first time is going to win you the game. You're down 2, and then the Survivor sweat too.
Oh my God!
I mean, 11 people had him in Survivor. It's just a roller coaster.
So, do you think the 11 people, when it was 4th and 1, and they're trailing by a point, do you think they wanted the field goal there? Because there was plenty of time left on the clock,
right,
for the Browns to come back down and score and win the game, or do you think the Survivor entries were saying, go forward, it's 4th and 1, score, go up by more than 2 points?
Well, I thought he made the right move. I thought he has to take the lead there with a couple of minutes left, knowing you have a quarterback who turns it over nonstop. And thanks to the email, by the way, FTM@VSiN.com, guy had 100-1 on 2 Denver defensive touchdowns, which, of course, with YOLO Winston, anything's possible. But
God, what an idea to make that bet.
It was probably, I know, it was probably split, though, that if you had him in Survivor, you think, well, it's a yard. We can't stop him anyways. I want to go up at maybe 7 or 8 here, go for the first down, chew more clock, try to punch it in. But I thought Peyton did the right thing after he thought it over.
So what do they make the Judy props going forward? 58.5 is what I bet yesterday.
I know.
And my biggest regret of the entire year was not putting him in the ladder bets. Yep. Our producer, Luke, said that he saw as high as 120 on the ladder, like plus 750. I bet you could have found, will anybody have 200 yards receiving in the game, or will he go to 150 plus?
Yeah, DraftKings puts it up every Sunday. It's usually 11, 12 to 1 in that range. And then you have to get these crazy performances on these Mondays and Thursdays, going back to what Cousins did against Tampa Bay. But that's I said the same thing yesterday.
They got a good defense.
McBride, Bowers, Jonnu Smith. You got to ladder these guys.
Yeah.
They're catching 10. They're getting 15 targets. And they're looking at, 10 for 150. Imagine what this stuff pays.
Yeah. So, again, if you notice the running game, Chubb doesn't have much.
Good call. Yeah, it was Ford.
Right?
It was Ford. Yeah, we had that.
They threw the ball 50. They completely aborted the running game immediately in the game, right? And so Winston threw the ball 58 times. So, again, the same game parlay comes in. his completions, his attempts, and the yards, they go over like that. It's simple. Like these numbers are going over at halftime if you're making these bets. So like Winston's, by the way, I can't wait for this. Give me the total right now. The Browns play at the Bengals in Week 16.
Oh, wow.
That has to be the highest total of the entire year.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And
it's going to be fantastic.
We only have 5 more games to play for most of these games, most of these teams anyway. Like, what do the Judy props look like? Do you make it below 75? Do you go up by 15 yards, or is that too much?
Yeah.
Is that completely an overreaction? Although he's going over that number, 75, every game with Winston as his quarterback.
Right, yeah. The other thing, Stefanski stopped kicking field goals. I mean, Hopkins is like George Costanza trying to get fired. I mean, how many kicks does he have to miss before you say, maybe not trot him out here? And a 40-yard field goal is an adventure. He missed 2 against the Saints, and one was 26 yards.
That's right.
He missed back-to-back kicks, 32 and then 27, whatever it was, 31 and 26. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Well, I think we know this too. Broncos, they're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, and they get the bye at the right time.
A little exposed last night.
Oh, yeah.
That's supposed to be, right?
I know.
Who have you played?
You're giving up 16 points per game, but, I mean, when you face someone good, or at least they can challenge you down the field, that happens. I was also surprised that not much movement in the market because Knicks played well. Daniel's still minus 220, 230, offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
But
you think Knicks should have gained ground?
Yeah, I thought so, yeah.
Oh.
No? Well,
no.
It's coming out of the bye is huge. If they beat the Colts and he plays well, and I think he'll light them up, then it's over. They're going to the playoffs.
Up next, what the committee rankings might look like tonight, and Paulie did it. He twisted my arm enough to make a bet. I'll tell you what it was coming up next here on VSiN.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Matt Brown and Mike Somich are on Ready, Set, Bet as they get you ready to make your bets as the last batch of football games kick off.
What I took away from this is I want to bet against the Patriots when they're behind by 2 scores.
We were going, well, I wonder if this team's actually better than we thought. They're not. They don't have enough talent.
Don't miss out on crucial advice for live betting once the game starts, as well as looking ahead to the upcoming action. Tune in to Ready, Set, Bet, Saturdays at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network.
So, Paulie, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah. Came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole 9, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's Late Night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Adam Chernoff joins the program coming up in 15 minutes. We'll get his best bets, that is, for Week 14 NFL. He told me he's eating a lot of chalk this week.
All right.
But he likes a plus price on a team to win a division. So find out who he's betting and who he likes coming up.
Yeah.
How stoked are you for tonight? Are you stressed out about tonight at all with the playoff show?
I feel good.
You feel good?
I feel good. I loved it. Saturday night I felt strong about it. Sunday. And then after I watched Heather Dinich, who works for ESPN, on ESPN today, I feel great. I think they're going to do the right thing. Remember, the SEC didn't even make the title game last year. Everyone gets paid now, so it's a whole different ball game. And I just don't think this league is great as everyone's making it out to be. And the 3 lost teams, and Alabama had a horrific loss a week ago. So
you feel great for the people who missed yesterday's show. You're strong on Miami getting into the playoff.
Yes.
Now, okay, so that goes by the wayside though if Clemson beats SMU.
Right. Everything we're about to discuss is moot if SMU loses to Clemson, because then they're both in.
Right. They're not taking 3 teams from the ACC.
Right. There's your 12.
So we need a win from SMU.
And I agree with you. If SMU loses and they're penalized somehow, then just shut it down. And if Bill Ady's listening, Brian Musburger, I don't even know if I want to watch. If SMU doesn't get in and they're penalized after going undefeated in league play, and they're penalized for playing an extra game and other teams sit out and they're rewarded, then you just start over again and come up with a new system.
No, it's been maddening over the years, but I will tell you that now. So here's the bet that I made. You twisted my arm.
Yeah.
I did get down on Miami at plus 750 to make the playoffs because of that angle. Because Dinich is so strong on this. They only have 2 losses compared to 3 for Oklahoma. They've been higher than them in the rankings. The loss to Syracuse, people will laugh. Don't laugh. They're a 9-win team. If you want to laugh at Alabama for losing and getting blown up by a bad Oklahoma team.
Yeah.
There's your comic show right there.
Yeah.
So and based on SMU winning the game, which, by the way, they're a small favorite, easier said than done. Okay, and Clemson opened up a 3-point favorite here at Circa. It immediately flipped. Now SMU is the favorite. I do think we're going to get a little bit of chaos this weekend, which would then potentially ruin this Miami bet. But if SMU gets by, I came on board, and I do not agree with Alabama. I saw offshore move to at least -$3 to get in.
Mm-hmm.
That's too high on that team.
Yeah, that's at Caesars here in town too. I think this is a coin flip, and that's why I thought that 10-1. So Miami at FanDuel was 10-1. It's down to 6, and then it's down to 6-1 also at Caesars, and I think it was 8-1 in that range as well. Again, you can't tell me that they're number 6 in the country and you love the quarterback and the offense, and then they lose a close game on the road by 4 to a 9-win team, and they're going to drop from 6 to 13? No, that's not how it works. That's ridiculous. So the other thing is Heather Dinich, this is her job. It's to sit there and talk to the committee and then report back and then sit there, and this is her job. This is what Heather Dinich does. Every week she's writing an article or talking about what the committee's going to do and projecting the playoff. So she said today the selection committee likes the Miami offense and Cam Ward. They like close losses. I have a feeling that the committee chair, Ward Manuel, is going to talk about those close losses. They already referenced that with the Miami loss to Georgia Tech. So to me, Miami is in, at least for right now. Maybe would they come back and do the unthinkable that Georgia beats Texas in the SEC title game, and then they say, oh, well, we're going to put Alabama in because they beat Georgia,
okay,
and now Georgia is the SEC champ. The other thing that helps them, Miami lost to 7-5 Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech should have beat Georgia. You see how good they were. They lost by 5 on the road, and they lost to Syracuse 9-3. We saw that. You mentioned Alabama, the horrible loss to Oklahoma, and lost to Vandy, who's also 6-6. There's also a common opponent. Let's see, if you really want to get in the weeds here, and the committee should do that, they both played South Florida. Miami spanked them on the road, 50-15. At home, Alabama led by 5 with 5 minutes left. They can go that route, too. It's an easy sell. My whole thing was 350 to win it all, 8-1, 10-1 to make the playoff. It's outrageous. They were 6th and lost a close game on the road. I think Miami's going to be the final team in. I think we're going to get good news tonight.
All right, so let me give you this. Brett McMurphy, Action Network, put up a Twitter poll yesterday, and it has almost 27,000 votes as we speak. and he asked the question, if SMU wins the ACC, who should get the final at-large spot in the playoff? And he put 4 teams in the poll. He put Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. There is one team currently getting 44% of the vote out of Bama, Miami, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. Guess which team it is?
I'm going to say it's South Carolina.
It is South Carolina.
Yeah.
Because they're the hottest team in the country,
right.
or one of the hottest teams in the country.
And in the last 24 hours, they went from 3-1 to 6-1.
Yeah,
but
they're not going to get in, though.
No, I know.
That's so people, and these are college ball fans we're talking about, and Brett has, let's double check this, Brett has 300,000 plus Twitter followers. So they're fans, they're voting for what they want to see. I wouldn't mind if South Carolina got in. I don't have a ticket on South Carolina to make the playoff, nor do I have a ticket on them to win the national title. But if you want to go on, but can you do that?
They've thrown out head-to-head before.
And I know they did.
They did it with Ohio State and Penn State.
They did it with TCU and Baylor.
That's true. You could just say they went to Alabama and lost a close game by 2 points. Whoop-de-doo. Yep. So you could say,
I should say they did that the entire year. The TCU Baylor year 10 years ago, the first time ever we had a 4-game playoff. And then the final week after TCU beat Iowa State by 50 plus, they said, the head-to-head really comes into play now. It's like, what? The whole time you said it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Well, yeah, that was, you win a game by 50 and you drop. Right. So I think this is completely mispriced. I'm going down with the ship. I twisted Doug Kazarian's arm. He wrote about it today in the New York Post. I just think this is absolutely asinine and absurd, the price.
Yeah.
And I think it's a coin flip. I think it's Bama or Miami. And I think Miami has the edge, and they should have the edge because they were 6th and Alabama was 13. And if you're telling me, like Heather Dennett said, every week the guy got up there, the committee chair, and said, we love Cam Ward, we love their offense, we like close losses. Miami has 2 of them. Alabama was blown out.
Right.
And you can also go with the common opponent. I think they're going to do the right thing.
If you told me who's most deserving compared to who is the best team right now, and you tried to figure out the top 12 best teams in the country, then to me it's a no-brainer. South Carolina would have to be in. Mm-hmm. If you go based on what we've seen, current form, how they're playing right now, what it's been like last month plus, I take South Carolina without hesitation. They're one of the best. I'm talking about just trying to find the 12 best teams in the country. They are absolutely one of the 12 best teams in the country.
I would have no problem with it. You would just say, well, they're a different team, and Sellers got hurt against LSU.
Yep.
Their peak, Alabama's limping in. South Carolina's hot. They just had a great road win.
And I would also tell you that if people want to use again the play in game and how it affected Miami, losing to Syracuse, again, go back to Alabama. That's unacceptable, that loss to Oklahoma. And by the way, let's hear about eyeball test then. How did that look with the eyeballs when they got absolutely spanked by a bad Oklahoma team?
Yeah, didn't score
Not
a
good.
touchdown. Yeah.
I'll give you another one. Ole Miss is still on the outside looking in, obviously. Very outside looking in.
22-1. 25-1 in that range, yeah.
Now, I know Florida really closed strong and actually had a pretty good year after Miami killed them.
Yep.
That's an unacceptable. That's a play-in game then. They win that game, we're not having this conversation. Ole Miss is in. Sorry, you lost to Florida, you're out.
Yeah. That's another key point, though, that they can trot out there tonight with Miami. Miami went there and
killed them.
Blew them out in the first game. Mm-hmm. They can sell that, too. It's an easy sell. Listen, Ole Miss lost at at Florida. And Miami had no issues, no problem.
So here are Dinich's projections for tonight then. The first round games, because the byes would be Oregon, Texas, SMU, and Boise. Number 9, Tennessee at number 8, Ohio State. The winner would play Oregon.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Number 12, Arizona State at number 5, Penn State. The winner would get Boise State.
Wow.
I think that might be a winnable game for Boise.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could take on the winner of Arizona State or Penn State and be right in that game. Miami at Notre Dame, 11 at 6. How good is that game? Winner would get SMU.
It's a no-brainer. It's Friday night. It's a ratings bonanza. Catholics, convicts, bring that nonsense back and everything. It's Miami's got brand power, brand name. Let's do it.
And how's this for the draw for the winner of the 10-7 game? Number 10, Indiana at number 7, Georgia. Winner would get Texas.
Right. So you get your wish. That would be unfortunate because you could have the third meeting.
I wouldn't want to see that.
Right.
Hopefully they could kind of tinker with that a little bit, but
I don't want conference teams playing one another
in the first round.
They need to do their best to avoid that.
Yeah, and that would be under this. They'd be completely avoided.
Right. All right. Here we go. College football playoffs right around the corner, and the NFL playoffs. Every best bet, every host, every guest get the VSiN Pro subscription. 19 hours live programming. power ratings, Steve Mackinnon betting systems, betting splits, DraftKings, and Circa. $9.99. Everything we offered up your betting game. VSiN.com/subscribe. Join the team. VSiN.com/subscribe. $9.99. Get on board. Let's go.
They have to ask the question tonight. I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. Please, for the love of God, ask the committee chair, if SMU loses, are they still in? You got to put them on the spot. Have to ask that question.
I think he will. I think Reese will do it.
Adam Chernoff joins the program coming up next. He's eating a lot of chalk this week. Find out who he likes, but he does have a plus price team to win a division. That's coming up next on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Get some early week NFL bets here. Adam Chernoff joins the program. Right Angle Sports. Also, his podcast is called The Simple Handicap. And he is on the Progressive guest line. Adam, good afternoon. Thanks for the time. Let's begin with the game that we have on Thursday night. It is a doozy. The Packers are playing at the Lions. Lions, a 3.5-point favorite. I'm a little concerned about my futures on Detroit. I don't know how they didn't beat Chicago by like 3 touchdowns or more. They had their chances the entire first half to put them away. They couldn't do it, and now they have several defensive injuries. What do you make of this number in a rematch in which they went to Lambeau earlier this year in the rain and kind of spanked the Packers?
Yeah, number short to me, Mitch. Oh. I think this deserves to be a bigger number. At 3.5 even money, I like it. There's even some 3 -120s out there for those that want to look around. And so this game, 2 weeks ago, if it was played hypothetically based on composite ratings, the Lions would have been a 4-point favorite on a neutral. On the look ahead coming into this last week, the Lions were a 6-point favorite. Mm-hmm. Things have been adjusted down quite a bit here, and a lot of that has to do with the Lions' defensive injuries. On the broadcast last week, for those who had the volume on amid eating and festivities, it was said that there were 9 defensive starters for the Lions, which were not playing. And I get there's a laundry list of guys on IR, but I mean, a lot of these guys have been on IR for a long time, and a lot of this has been priced into Lions numbers for the last couple of weeks. The big loss last week was Malcolm Rodriguez, but some of that is offset with Carlton Davis coming back this week. And so I start to question as we look at a 3-point adjustment from the look ahead, as we're looking at just a very different range of numbers here from composite ratings just a couple of weeks. Like, this to me has come down quite a bit for what is still a very strong home field advantage for Detroit. And you mentioned the Lions not putting away the Bears. Certainly had opportunities, failed in the red zone a few times, had the fumble inside the 5. And that's the only thing that kept the Lions not from winning by double digits. And we're probably looking at this game very differently. And one other thing that I would say here on this game is, in these last couple of weeks where the Packers have been upgraded quite a bit, and we're seeing this number get a lot tighter, you can't help but look at a lot of noise in the Packers' numbers too. Defensively, they're still the most boomer bust defense in the NFL. Top 10 in EPA per play, bottom 5 in success rate. And they're just living off of turnovers. They're living off of big plays. They're living off of 4th down stops. And offensively in the last 2 weeks, they've had a lot of short field drives, 4 of them in under 20 yards for a touchdown, where they've got turnovers or fumbles in their territory to set up short drives. And that's kind of inflating the scoreboard a little bit too. So to me, 2 very kind of noisy teams here in a number that's been adjusted down too much. I like the Lions here at home on Thursday night.
Okay, very good. Minnesota 5.5 at home to Atlanta. It's a tough, you can't make a quarterback change and put the rookie in that situation, I think, in that environment. Or just Cousins was that bad off the bye. What happened? Nothing on the ball, no velocity, lobbing it up there with the 4 interceptions, and also a game they gave away with Cousins, and the defense finally played well and got after Herbert. What do you think Flores is going to do now to a guy who can't move and he doesn't have any arm strength, it appears?
A guy that can't move, a guy that I think is injured with that arm injury that put him on the injury report a couple of weeks ago, and a guy that Flores knows very well from playing with him last year. And so not only is there the familiarity factor that I think this turns out to be a very bad game for Cousins and this Falcons offense, but if you want to go beyond the familiarity, think back just 2 games ago for Atlanta when they went into Denver. What did the Denver Broncos do very well? Well, they blitz a ton, and they're able to generate a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. How did Kirk Cousins look in that game? Yeah. I mean, it was as ugly as it gets. And then you see him on the field against the Chargers. I don't know how you can watch that game and not think that he is dealing with an injury. The arm and the arm strength looked horrible. But then also in a lot of the replays, he's jumping off of his back foot. He's not planting comfortably. To me, there's something going on there. The games where the Vikings defense have had some difficulty this season is when the opposing quarterback has some mobility. You're not getting that from Kirk in this spot. I think this is very tough for Atlanta. Unfortunately, in the last 20 minutes, we've lost this number a little bit. But at 5.5 for Minnesota, I'm still backing the home team here. And one other thing I'd say on this one, too, I know it's moved a little bit, but I mean, the Vikings just closed 3.5, 4 to the Arizona Cardinals at home. I don't think anybody's making in this game, Arizona just 2 points better than Atlanta on the neutral. And so this number, again, I think is still even a little bit short here at 5.5 after the recent move in the last 20 minutes.
All right, very good. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Adam Chernoff with Right Angle Sports. His podcast is called The Simple Handicap. You made the case there for the Vikings, a 10-win team, and the Lions, an 11-win team, only one loss. And now the Chiefs, another team at 11-1. I wonder the last time when teams this late in the season have had a record like this and they're laying like 3.5 or 4 points against division teams, which is crazy when you think about it, but it tells you how maybe good the top of these divisions really are. So then the Chiefs with that gaudy record laying 3.5 or 4 against a Chargers team who have, they've won 8 games. I don't know how they did it last week against Atlanta. That was bonkers. But what do you want to do in this spot?
Yeah, the Chiefs right now, I see multiple spots that are 3 minus 115. I would go 3.5 minus 115. I would happily go 3.5 minus 120 on this game with the Chiefs. A couple things at play here. The first is that the Chiefs are going to get stability back on their offensive line. All signs point to DJ Humphries coming in and starting. That's massive for the Chiefs O-line. I mean, it has been driving them nuts that they can't get protection on Mahomes in the pocket. Stabilizing the left tackle position this week is a huge boost. I think that is very underrated for the impact it's going to have to this offense. The second thing, does not look like Ladd McConkey is going to play in this game. It is Tuesday, early afternoon. I'm saying he has a 40% chance of playing. That could decrease based on how we've heard Harbaugh talk about it so far. If he is unable to play in this game, the Chargers are so thin at skill position players, as is with him. You take him out, this is a game where the Chiefs defense is going to look really good too. Something that has stood out to me for Kansas City this year versus last year, pressure rate almost identical, blitz rate almost identical, but 25 fewer sacks this year versus last year. And part of that's being driven by not having a lot of depth at corner. Last year, they were just getting that extra 1 or 2 seconds in coverage, and that was allowing the pass rush to get home. Hasn't been the case this year because they've been thin at corner past the number one option, and it just has been like we saw against the Raiders. Some of these big plays open up because the pass rush isn't getting home because the coverage is a little bit weaker. But if you take McConkey out for the Chargers, I mean, this is a pretty easy matchup for the Chiefs defense to stay in coverage, and it's going to allow a guy like Connor to get back to safety and not be pushed into the nickel spot. I like a lot of things about this matchup here. I like the Chiefs here, 3.5 minus 120 on Sunday Night Football.
All right, another double-digit win team that you like. The Eagles are laying a huge number against Carolina. Carolina's been playing much better with Bryce Young now the last couple of weeks. 12.5. What do you make of it?
The chalk is heavy this week, Mitch. I'm not sure what that signal's coming in here on a Tuesday morning, but man, I look at this. I'm going to say it's the biggest on-field matchup advantage for any team all season on both offense and defense. Like you said, Bryce Young has looked a lot better. He's looked a lot more confident in the pocket. But going up against this Vic Fangio defense, which is clicking right now, that has so many pre-snap disguises and is so hard to read, is a different ballgame from what Bryce Young has faced the last couple of weeks. And on the other side, if there is any willingness at all for the Eagles to let Saquon Barkley push in this game, and especially down the stretch to try get an MVP bid, I mean, what a layup of an opponent to have here behind this offensive line against this Panthers defense, which has not been able to stop anybody on the ground all season. Last week against the Bucs, conceded more than 200 yards. The Bucs didn't have their best offensive lineman on the field. And so, I mean, this is wide open for the Eagles to run the ball, and they have been so good when they have been front running this season. I have got a lot of flack for this pick in the last 36 hours between podcasts and other media that I have been doing. Nobody wanted to support the Panthers for the first 2.5 months of the season. And suddenly this week against the Eagles, it's been my most criticized opinion so far this week. I don't understand it. I think the Eagles win here comfortably by more than 2 scores.
And you've seen enough based on how Cousins looks and how easy the Tampa Bay schedule is that you jumped in and made a division bet.
Yeah, Bucks plus 115 to win the South. Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers, Saints down the stretch for the Buccaneers. That plays out a whole lot easier than Vikings, Commanders, finding the Falcons schedule, and you have the injuries that Kirk is potentially dealing with. I think this is the Buccaneers division to potentially steal here down the stretch and come back from what looked like a couple weeks ago, just a bad spot. And again, like the Falcons have been feasting off of the division. 4 of their 6 wins have come against teams in the South. They go out of the division, it looks completely different. And right now they're have a negative point differential, the worst point differential of any team leading a division through 13 weeks in NFL history. So the Falcons, to me, are quite fraudulent atop the South, and I think the Bucs steal it by the end of the season.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I think there's a real path where the Falcons maybe win one more game this entire year at home to the Giants. You can follow Adam on X. He is at Adam Chernoff, and his podcast is called The Simple Handicap. Great stuff as always. Good luck this week. Thank you.
Thanks very much, guys. Go
Thank
favorites.
You. Yep. Paul's going to recap the betting action from last night and win some, lose some. I can't imagine how big some of these numbers were that came in with that crazy game. We're seeing stuff on Judy as high as 15-1. Details on that coming up next.
Got a good thing coming, just wait and see. It's a good.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network. last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Paulie Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Yolo Winston delivered. Great Monday night game. Williams' first touchdown, 7-1. Here at Circa, Winston to throw for 300 yards was 5-1. 400? 450? Imagine the ladder bets. Judy, 150 yards, 15-1. How about 200? A 225.
Wow.
What do we got? 175? How nuts did people get? I saw the 15-1.
Yeah, that was Todd. He said he laddered him all the way up to 150.
Oh.
So who knows? All of those then come in like that. That's a huge night. This is also from Mako, who said he put in the ladder bets. He peaked out at 8+ receptions, plus 490 on 8+ catches when he's getting 11 targets per game, and 90+ yards at plus 270.
Wow. That's awesome. Like this gentleman. 2 defensive touchdowns by the Broncos. 100-1. Will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown in the game? Yes, plus 260.
Well, see, that's the perfect time to think about something like that.
With him, yeah.
When he's the quarterback.
That's right, yeah. It's happened on a weekly basis when he was in Tampa. Will someone score 40 points? Yes, 8-1. Burton, anytime touchdown, 15-1. Mims, plus 550. Anytime. Successful 2-point conversion, plus 280. And Lakers T-Wolves under 225.5 to 219. Lakers routed 109-80. Not even close. Subscribe, be part of the team. VSiN.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Paulie Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. The dog requires the kiss on the nose before eating the food. There you go, wagging the tail. Look, okay, now I get the go-ahead, right? Look at this, just in a loop. He won't touch the food until he gets the smooch. And there it is. Okay, thank you. Now I will eat. That is awesome. Oh, they're so good. And this dog won't eat the chip unless it's dipped in sauce. Here, look, the human fakes it. No, yeah, I saw it.
Out of here.
Yeah, you faked it. Put it in there. Put it in there. I want the sauce on it. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Now I'll eat it.
I got a good snout. Come on.
That is great. Get out of here with that. And one bad beat. Worst of the season? NFL? Browns plus 6.5? Browns plus 6? Down 2. 2 minutes left. Driving to kick the game-winning field goal. Okay, interception. Oh, pick 6. Okay, that's all right. Down 9. We get the ball back. PI, first and goal. Still need a field goal, even if it goes incomplete. Or there's a sack, right?
Yeah, Wes Reynolds here on VSiN, in the VSiN Daily today that Bill 80 emails every day to your inbox when you're a pro subscriber. He said basically as bad as it gets.
Yeah.
And it was.
And that can't happen. It's just, ready to elevate your tailgate game. You have to try Sewell's Barbecue. Born from a backyard cookout mason jar of unforgettable flavor, Sewell's has become a Southern favorite, lighting up taste buds from Georgia to the Carolinas. From ribs and wings to a backyard burger, Sewell's takes every bite to the next level. Order online, Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. Look at that shot. That's a great picture. Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. Welcome aboard. Great to have you.
Fun game last night. I make the total if those teams are going to play their starters in Week 16, meaning the Browns and the Bengals when they play. Like if it's Burrow and Higgins and Chase and everybody, they're not sitting out the rest of the year, whatever, they get hurt. That total's got to be 54.5. Have at it. I mean, look at the Bengals game on Monday night this coming week.
Yeah, big move.
Against the Cowboys. What the look ahead was around 46.
44.5.
44.5.
That's what it opened up at, yeah.
Okay, now it touched 50 already.
Yep.
And now it's around 49.5 or 50 in that game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what happens now? Derek Stevens, owner of Circle, later in the show. What happens now in Survivor? Because now we're getting close to Christmas and we're down to 52 people. And again, only 2 people were knocked out. But one play here, one play there. We're going to have like 15 people left. What happened? And even going back to, there could be like 5 people left if the Bears win and Kansas City loses on Black Friday and Christmas. 30 have Tampa Bay. 7 against the Raiders. A bunch have Pittsburgh. Do you want to use them here? But how many people have Kansas City? 14 have the Eagles. Seems like a no-brainer. 27 have the Vikings. 8 have Miami. Why I bring up the Pittsburgh thing, though, but only 7 people have the Chiefs left and only 3 have Houston.
That's right.
So do you really want to get involved in the Seattle Chicago game, where a lot of people have already used Seattle, and then no one. You're going to have to take Pittsburgh maybe as a dog, although that number is going to come down. And people saving Baltimore, it looks like.
Yeah.
One of the 3 Christmas games.
I went back and looked at a lot of the remaining entries today. Some entries have used 5 of the 6 Christmas teams.
Oh.
And they are specifically saving Baltimore for that day, right, when they play at Houston. Also, there are only 2 entries left with multiple picks.
Yeah, Paul Bovey lost on one, yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's too bad.
NFL Wise Guys and C3 picks. And here's the breakdown. Wise Guys, again, 2 left. They have the Chiefs and the Steelers on both entries. They have no other teams remaining for Christmas Day. So my guess is they've been playing this out now for the entire year, thinking they're going to do the chop, or I'm sorry, the double option there. But then they're going to give away an entry. If there's still maybe, 30 left or whatever, maybe more.
Right.
C3 Picks also has 2 entries. The Bears, Seahawks, and Steelers on Christmas Day are on both entries. They have no other teams. Are they playing for the double option? 2 entries left again. Do they go Steelers this week on both of them? 7-point favorites now, right around there. And then if they get by, they save Bears, Seahawks, they split it on Christmas Day. Is that the play? Otherwise, if you put one on the Steelers on Christmas against the Chiefs.
Going against Mahomes.
Ooh.
That's a tough call. I don't think you sacrifice. I don't think you do that. I think you take your chances.
I don't disagree.
Because then you're also looking at, are we getting to a chop at that point, and how many people are left? Because if you get through, then you only have to make 2 more picks. The Sunday, which would be Week 17, and then Week 18.
Well, how surprised are you that with Thanksgiving its own week, and then you got to come back on Sunday and fire again? How many people were chopped? 2?
2, I know. Yeah,
that's it?
I know, but it could have been half.
I know.
35.
Yeah,
what happened? Minnesota's supposed to lose that game. I mean,
sure they are. Chiefs are supposed to lose that game.
Right.
So then we'd be down to,
Colts.
20?
Yeah.
Right now?
Right.
In that range?
I forgot one person had Houston, too.
Yeah.
There's another sweat.
Yeah.
If they don't pick up that first down, Mac Jones has a chance to tie the game or win it. And then, we went over the Tampa Bay scenario, too. But it's always a shocker and a stunner when you watch it. Between the no pick, between 9 different teams were picked on Sunday. It's nuts.
Well, if you go back and look throughout the entire year, especially when we've had more one-score games than ever this season, how many times do you actually have a rocking chair winner that you would use in Survivor? Where it's a total blowout from the opening quarter. It doesn't happen that often. I mean, my God, all these big favorites are losing for the first month of the entire year.
Would you do the option? And just say, I don't want to sweat it, I'll take
how many people?
The option? Yeah.
I think that also comes down to how many people are left.
Right.
Right? Because what if nobody is eliminated between now and Christmas?
Yes, true. I make the line 3. Kansas City 3 at Pittsburgh. What do you do? You would. That's a tough game.
Well, I mean, there are 7 people left with the Chiefs. Are they saving them for that day?
No, you got to use them other.
Because there's no way I would want to use the Chiefs at the Pittsburgh Steelers on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I would rather use the Steelers against the Chiefs.
Okay.
But I don't want to use either one of them, to be honest.
Could be game of the year. You'd be talking about 1 or 2 seed implications at that point.
Yeah, sure. That's, man. Well, you're right.
Will an injury decide? Could an injury decide this?
100%. And that's why, again, if you only have 1 team left on Christmas Day, we have 3 weeks to get there yet.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
And if a quarterback goes down and you're holding that team for Christmas Day, well, then you're SOL.
Mm-hmm.
But there's, of the 5 teams, 5 entries left, or multiple entries left, that they've used 5 out of the 6 saving Baltimore, you better hope that obviously nobody goes down with an injury. You're praying to God every single day that Lamar stays healthy. I can't. This is going to have 20,000 people in the next year.
Yep.
I'd bet on that.
I think Survivor Sweat's right. I know.
Yep.
I was a little concerned about early on this luck factor, and everyone was out after 3 weeks and all this, but it's just between this and the documentary and the stories, yep. So 30 have Tampa. I wonder, because you still have some easy games after this, too.
You do?
I don't think I don't think that many people use Tampa because there's more opportunities down the stretch.
Well, how many people have Philly? You say 12 or 14?
14, I think. Yeah, 14.
No brainer, right?
Yeah. Take Philly and move on. because they got some tough games coming up, too.
I hate to say this. If you take Philly, if all 14 take Philly and you lose, you actually have to be okay with the
That's
selection.
True, right.
You can't have a regret.
Well, 27 people have the Vikings. If not now, as Paul Bovey says, the store is closed. I mean, you really want to use them against the Bears? I'd rather use them against Cousins, and he's compromised, and it's just...
Right. What you don't want, actually, is for Atlanta to say, we're going to go to Michael Penix.
Yeah.
You know? We'll go over who we like in conference title games this weekend. Where is the chaos coming from? It's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard share their knowledge of sports, gambling, and pop culture on Follow the Money.